Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, we gotta give credit where credit is due, man. Eddie Hearn is doing his damn thing. He's how the young kids would say these days. He's in his bag. He's putting on, in the space of what, 2-3 months. He's putting on 3 big heavyweight fights. Obviously we have Joshua Pulev. That's a big fight. We have Povetkin versus White. That's a big fight. And then now another big fight in the heavyweight division has been announced, and it is courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing, and it comes in the form of Oleksandr Usyk. Yes, that Oleksandr Usyk, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. It was announced recently that he will be fighting Dereck Chisora May 23rd at the O2 Arena. So listen, man, let's stand up and let's pace back and forth. It's your boy BT. We're here on True School Sports talking heavyweight boxing. Now listen, Oleksandr Usyk is a world-class fighter. He is a creme de la creme, pound for pound caliber fighter. We saw what Usyk did. He went to the cruiserweight division when the cruiserweight division was one of the most stacked divisions in boxing, and he folded everybody up like a blue steel chair. He just cleared the whole division out, and pretty much anybody with a name that there was to beat at cruiserweight, he beat them. Okay, he really cleaned out the division. It wasn't like like how Andre Ward cleaned out the division, where he beats 1 or 2 really good guys, really good fighters in the division, and then he leaves the division. No. This guy beat all the champions. He beat all the contenders. He beat everybody there was to beat at cruiserweight. All the faded ex-champions, he beat them too. Okay, he really cleaned out the cruiserweight division, and he cemented himself as arguably if he's not number 1, he's number 2. He's definitely top 2 cruiserweights of all time, right there with the great Evander Holyfield, and that's not bad company to be in, with Evander the real deal Holyfield. Now, this is his true first step up fight to heavyweight. His heavyweight debut, he fought some guy whose name I can't even remember right now, but he fought some guy, and he didn't look too good. And a lot of people call into question, will Usyk be able to compete at the weight? Will he be able to really make anything of himself at heavyweight? And that question is still, I think, a valid one. I like Usyk. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world, skill for skill. But this is the big boy division. This is the heavyweight division. These dudes ain't punching like cruiserweights. These dudes are folding you up just by breathing and punching, okay? So he's fighting a guy in Dereck Chisora, and I think for your first true test in the heavyweight division, they couldn't have picked a better guy for Usyk, because Chisora, for one, he is 36 years old, and he's actually playing into the line of thought that heavyweights can mature, and oftentimes do mature later in their careers than fighters from other weight classes. He's 36 years old, and I would honestly say that over the last, right now and over the last couple of years, this is the best Dereck Chisora we've ever seen. Straight up, this is the best Dereck Chisora we've ever seen in his entire time in the professional ranks of boxing. If we look at Chisora over the last 4 years, okay, I think this has been the best period of his career, in my humble opinion. And if you start from 2016, he fought Kubrat Pulev for the EBU title, and Pulev, we know, is a solid top 10 guy. He's been a solid top 10 guy for quite some time now. Great amateur pedigree. He's been there and done it in the amateurs. He's been there and done it in the pros. The only guy he's ever lost to is the great Vladimir Klitschko. Okay, now Pulev fought Chisora for the EBU title to a split decision. So that fight was an exceptionally close fight. Could have won either way. Maybe he should have won that fight. Fast forward 2 fights later, he fights Dillian Whyte for the first time, and that's a fight that I like Dillian Whyte. I am a fan of Dillian Whyte, but he definitely lost that fight to Chisora. Chisora beat the brakes off that boy. He should have won that. He should have got the decision in that fight. So I thought he won that fight. But regardless, 2 split decisions against 2 guys now. One guy in White who's for sure a top 5 heavyweight, and one guy in Pulev who's a top 10 heavyweight. So you have that. Then he lost a majority decision, again challenging for the EBU title, to Aji Caballero. And Aji Caballero, another solid guy. He's top 15, top 20. That's another fight where that fight could have went either way. Then he finally breaks through. He finally breaks through late in middle of 2018 when he fights Carlos Takam. He was an underdog by many in that fight because Takam wasn't too far removed from giving Anthony Joshua a really good account of himself. And he upset the apple cart and beat the daylights out of Takam. Then he fought Dillian White again for the second time and had success against him once more. But Dillian White, he absolutely iced him, got him out the ring, folded him up like a blue steel chair. And he really made Chisora pay a price for fighting him, with that left hook. Then after that, he fights the likes of Sened Gashi. He actually showed that he could box a little bit against the opposition. So he showed some boxing skills. David Hayes been working with him in the gym. And then scores 2 back-to-back stoppage victories against what I believe to be, is a faded version of Artur Spilka and a faded version of David Price. But still 2 names in the division. So he's been picking up good wins. He's been in really close fights with top competition. And we know with Chisora, because he makes it known on his hat, that it's going to be a war. He don't wear that hat that says War Chisora for no damn reason. He comes for all the smoke all the time. So with that being said, and with that being established, I think right now we can say that this is the best Dereck Chisora we've seen in his career over the last couple of years, and there's no reason right now at this point in time to believe that will stop or cease, because he's coming into this fight on a 3-fight winning streak, with 2 of his last fights being stoppage victories against names we know as heavyweight boxing fans. So what does that mean for Usyk? Well, this is a chance for Usyk to fight a dangerous pressure fighter who's going to throw a lot of punches and is going to come to win, because this fight right here, in terms of each fighter's background, when we talk about Chisora, he was a guy that did have a big amateur pedigree, and he didn't have his amateur pedigree isn't littered with gold medals and amateur championship wins, amateur tournament wins. He comes to fight. He doesn't give a crap about boxing skills. I mean, he's added a bit more craft, and he's fighting like the bootleg British Joe Frazier now, but still, he's still Chisora. At his core, he's still War Chisora, and that will be no different in this fight. And with Usyk, he's the opposite. He won every amateur tournament. He was a gold medalist. He was arguably the greatest Olympic team of all time, which was that 2012 Ukraine Olympic team, which I think is just as good, if not maybe even better, than the 1984 U.S. Olympic team. It's in that discussion. It's right there. So this is a real chance for Usyk to make a statement in the heavyweight division, because, I mean, look, we talk about Dillian White. Everybody loves Dillian White. I like Dillian White. I think he's a really good heavyweight. Some would even say he's the best heavyweight without a belt right now. He's got a better resume than some guys that are champions or that were champion. But this is a chance for Usyk to really make a statement really early on in his career, his heavyweight campaign, because guys like Dillian White were fighting Chisora to split decisions and struggling with them, and in the eyes of many people, getting gift decisions. Usyk with the win here, if he can go in there, win every round, stop him, put on a masterclass boxing performance, that is him sticking his flag in the ground and letting these dudes know, hey, I'm here. Y'all talking about Tyson Fury, y'all talking about Anthony Joshua for undisputed. I don't give a damn about none of that shit. I am here. I am the most skilled heavyweight in the division, and I'm going to prove it to you when I fight the big dog. But this is me sticking my flag in the ground, pissing, and making my mark to let you guys know that I am here and I'm not to be messed with. So I think it's a great fight. I think this is also going to give us a lot of insight into the punch resistance of Oleksandr Usyk, because that's really the only thing that people are calling into question with Oleksandr Usyk, is basically the punch resistance. Can he take a big heavyweight punch and keep coming forward and keep fighting with the same ferocity before he takes the punch? Or is he just going to fold anytime he takes a big heavyweight punch? We don't know. So we're going to have to see. We know that in the Olympics, and I believe even in the, was he in the World Series of Boxing? I'm not sure if it was the Olympics or the World Series of Boxing, but we know he fought a heavyweight, so, we'll see how he holds up. I think Chisora is a great test for him for us to see that. And listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If we watch this fight and we see that he can take a big heavyweight punch, then I don't know, man. I think we might have to start talking about Usyk. If he goes in there, because listen, in terms of skills, we know that it's not even remotely a competition between Chisora and Usyk. He is by far the more skilled boxer. But Chisora is a full-fledged heavyweight. He's fought everybody there is to, pretty much everybody there is to fight. He's fought the Klitschko's of the world. He's fought Tyson Fury 2 times. He's fought Dillian White. He's fought Spilka. He's fought David Price. He's fought Pulev. He's fought the who's who of the heavyweight division. So if there's anybody who's gonna have no fear of a guy coming up from cruiserweight, it's gonna be Dereck Chisora. He don't give a damn about none of that stuff. He don't care about how many gold medals you won. He don't care about how many amateur fights you won. He don't care about where you on the pound for pound list. Listen, this is the big boy division for a reason, and he is a big boy. He is a big man, and he's coming to bang out Oleksandr Usyk. He's coming to bang out and fold up Oleksandr Usyk, and this right here, like for Chisora, right? Because he's maturing later in his career. You know, him working with David Price in the gym has given him a bit more craft and a bit more dimension to his game, so that he can actually fight more. It's actually helped enhance the best part of his skill set, which is the ability to exchange and get into a fight. He doesn't want to box, but because he's coming in that, you know, Joe Frazier crouching sort of like style, he's able to cover more real estate and get more leverage on his shots and be in better position to throw harder, more devastating punches. So this is a great fight. It's a great fight, man. It's a great fight. If he wins this fight against Usyk though and hands him his first L, first of all, I'm gonna say it like this: this guy has fought the who's who of the heavyweight division. He's been in great fights. He's been in entertaining fights. He's picked up some good wins, especially later on in his career. If this man somehow knocks out Oleksandr Usyk, we might have to. And this is gonna sound crazy to a lot of you guys, because a lot of you guys are gonna say, "Well, he's lost all his big fights." But listen, this is a massive fight. This is a guy that, you know, many people would say is top 5 pound for pound. Still, if he gets this win, maybe he starts to make a legitimate case for the Hall of Fame, because then if he beats Usyk, right, he's gonna get a big fight after that. There's no way he won't get a big fight after he beats a Usyk. You know, he'd have to get like a fight with maybe a Joshua, maybe Dillian White at 3, you know, and then all of a sudden Dillian White 3 becomes a trilogy. Maybe Hrgovic, you know, I don't know. There's all kinds of heavyweights in the Matchroom stable. Maybe like Michael Hunter. There's all kind of heavyweights out there fights out there for Dillian White, especially if he wins this fight. So it's great for both fighters, man. It's great for the heavyweight division. You know, Eddie Hearn is really, he's doing his thing, man. He's in his bag. I mean, May 2nd, White Povetkin. Great fight. 2 of the biggest punchers and 2 of the most established and best fighters in the division that aren't champions fighting each other to work their way up towards a potential maybe Anthony Joshua fight. That's going to be a banger. This fight on the 23rd between, what's his name? Chisora and Usyk. I mean, the greatest, or arguably the greatest cruiserweight of all time, moving up for his first test of heavyweight, fighting one of the most destructive and fearless fighters in the heavyweight division in Dereck Chisora. And then June 20th, the big one, you know, Anthony Joshua making his homecoming, making his return back to London, fighting at the new and glorious Tottenham Stadium. So we're talking about 3 fights in the space of just 1 month, and it's going to be a fun time to cover boxing. So you guys are going to want to definitely be tuning into True School Sports around that time, because I'm going to definitely be covering those fights as far as on my YouTube channel a lot. And I'm actually, you know what? I'm probably going to put in a credential request for all 3 of these fights, and we're going to see which ones we get into. If for whatever reason, listen, the channel's growing, things are going well, people are starting to give me my just due as I progress up the ranks in boxing, and I'm really appreciative for everybody that's continued supporting over the years. But listen, I'm putting in a credential request for all 3 of these fights in the UK, in which everyone I get into, my ass will be there. So just letting you guys know in advance. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about Oleksandr Usyk's first test of heavyweight, fighting Del Boy, Dereck Chisora. Should be a good one. Should be, as the Brits would say, should be an absolute cracker. That was a bad British impression. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. You know, if you hate me, I don't really give a damn. I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.